It's 10 o'clock Mountain Time. That means it's time for Tom and Shane podcast. And today we want to talk about Joe Biden's big mistake. Shane, it's hard to classify Biden's big mistakes because Afghanistan, the border, the list is pretty long of Biden mistakes. So it's, it's not easy to do that. Before we get started, we need to remind you, excuse me, we're here every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the notification bell, like us, and leave a comment because, they like that kind of stuff. So, all right. Well, Biden's big mistake. We had this prisoner swap with the Russians, Shane. Brittney Griner and Paul Whelan are still in the Brittany's home. Paul is serving a 16-year sentence for espionage. Brittany had some dope on her, some CDC oil, and got nabbed at the airport. And they traded her for arms dealer Victor Bott. So, what do you think? This good deal? Not a good deal. A minor dope offense for a arms dealer that creates havoc all over the Africa and the Middle East.
Well, I think the hard reality is whenever we pick a subject like this and we go research it, which we do because if we don't, we're not going to have much of it, many people listening. But this one's an interesting one. Yes, this is the continuation of the Biden Democrat donkey show. And the tough thing about this is the choice. And we've heard it all across the news because, it was 24/7. Still sometimes is, but I just want to go into a couple of things that I found that were rather amazing that might shine a light on a lot of this, and that is her wife, Gloria Johnson. Their personal life started back in 2014 when they announced they were engaged, and then on April 22nd, 2015, they were arrested for physically attacking each other after the police broke up a fight between the two of them in their Goodyear, Arizona home. Both of them sustained, minor injuries for the incident. They stayed together, of course, and married in May 8th, 2015. So it's sort of interesting because it was announced on June 4th, 2015, Johnson was pregnant and that she would miss the 2015 WNBA season. Then one day later, Griner filed for an annulment, which was rejected, of their marriage. And Johnson gave birth to twins on October 15th, 16 weeks premature. The twins were conceived by intravenous treatment using her eggs and a sperm donor. Their divorce was finalized in June 2016. What? Yeah. Really? They're divorced? No one mentioned that.
Yeah.
And then this is the good part. So, she goes to Russia. Well, interestingly enough, her wife from 2012 to 2015, played 3 off seasons in Russia for 2 different teams. Kada, Volgada, and I can't pronounce it.
Yeah, you can't pronounce anything. Nobody can pronounce anything in Russian.
No, but, here her wife is often playing basketball, in the Russian league for 2 years or 3 years. And then as of November 16th, she signed, Johnson, her wife, with you're going to love this, Xinjiang Tianxian Deers of the World Chinese Women's Chinese Basketball Association for 2015-17 in the offseason. So strangely enough, both of these women have ties to both China and Russia.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody brings any of this up.
I know.
Then, of course, continues. Johnson in 2018, August, went to Turkey and signed with the Hatay Basketball League, whatever, in Turkey. and for 2018-19 in the off season. So they're apart a lot of the time. They're together. They have twins. They separate. They're divorced. They're annulled. They get in a fight. They get arrested. And, the media makes them all out to be victims.
Yeah.
And boy, I don't know. What are your thoughts on all that?
Well, that's what I mean. It's easier for me to say leave them there, because it's not me doing it. Yeah. Stay in a Russian prison. Why don't you? Leave her there. So, but to trade her for an arms dealer, I don't know, Shane. That's a stretch. I mean, that's a big stretch to do that.
Well, it not only that, but where the swap took place, the Emirates, right? And of course, with private jets, of course, and it's just one of these things that when will we revisit this guy? I mean, when will his name appear again? Of course, it will.
Yeah.
And again, it gets back to this whole Biden donkey show with his son in Russia, and you would think with the influence peddling that we're now aware of that's real, that Biden shouldn't have any trouble getting people that are there, including this military gentleman. I mean, how does a former U.S. Marine still remain in Russia? Is incredible. And the most interesting thing about this is the previous administration got people released, the Americans that were interned in other countries around the world, dozens of them for nothing. He just played the hard card and got the job done. Biden had nothing to do with this, so this was
no, it wasn't. It's wrong to say it was his big mistake. And, I'm sure he doesn't probably know who either one of them are.
It's someone in your State Department, and of course those brilliant guys at the CIA and so forth.
Those guys there.
They all get it right, and so here we are. 7 minutes into a podcast talking about an arrested basketball player, that's been in and out of a relationship,
who's domestically violent, apparently.
And then it goes back to Biden coming out to make the announcement with her ex-wife. Standing next to him, which they represent on TV as her wife. Wow.
I don't know, man. Well, it goes to
me, Thomas.
Well, part of this goes to show the incompetence of mainstream media, for one thing, not to, obviously they want to protect Biden, so they want to make him look good. So anything negative, they probably paid her to be there.
Well, this is the whole thing. Her ex-wife, mother of twins or what? Obviously, we're known to the Russians. I mean, nobody goes to Russia from America and aren't constantly followed and videoed and listened to, and so it's one of these things about she knew. Nobody brings it up, and here's why. She knows from Glory, that what the rules are in Russia. Because she's been there and back, and she knows what it's like, because they've obviously talked about it and Zoomed or talked or whatever, Facebooked each other while she was there. And so she knew how tight and regulated Russia was. And everybody says, oh, well, she probably didn't know. Yeah, right. Let's believe that. Now you have no reason to believe it. It's a circus. It's just
for sure
a 3-ring circus. You've got the one ring is his family, the other ring on Biden's left is his son, and then of course he's in the middle, and everything that he touches is a donkey show.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, originally there was a 2-for-2 swap planned. They wanted to get Russian General Vadim Krasikov out of Germany.
Right.
but the Germans reneged on that deal, so they had to pick one or the other. And as we talked about, Shane, on our Saturday radio show, that Whalen, the Marine veteran, 16 years prison sentence for espionage, which is, we think, a bogus charge, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he doesn't check any of the boxes. He's not gay.
No.
He's not black. He's not,
A sports person.
yeah, he's not a personality
He's
of
not a
any
woke
kind.
person.
Yeah, he's not a, yeah.
Yeah. She doesn't
And
want the flag or the national anthem play the games that
yeah,
she plays at. And
yeah. So
you know,
yeah, she's the female Colin Kaepernick. I guess. Well, there's some debate whether she's female or not, but that's a whole nother story. It's for another show maybe. But I don't care, but still, if they brought Whalen home, oh my God, the Democrats would have been apoplectic. Racist, white over black, gay over straight. Oh my God. I think Biden had no choice but to bring her home as opposed to Paul Griner. So,
well, yeah.
and,
When you look at pictures of her, particularly in her uniform, it's hard to believe that she's a woman, because she's 6'9".
Yeah.
And she weighs 205 pounds or something.
Yeah.
So of course, Glory, she's a biggie too, right? I mean, she looks more like a woman when you look at her.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And she's 6'3" and 170 pounds. So I can't imagine being the police that were breaking up their fight first.
Yeah, I know. That must have been that must have been some brawl.
Yeah. And the thing I get the biggest kick out is Mariposa County. I mean, like, of course, of all places that they live, which is where Goodyear, Arizona is. It's a suburb of Phoenix. It's about 85,000 people. But all these factors you put together, and you say to yourself, "Is this reasonable to talk about on our podcast?" And I have to say yes, because in 12 minutes, we've covered all the aspects of this whole story. No one else has.
Yeah. Not that I've heard anywhere that we monitor
none of it. Yeah.
We got to monitor the newscasts, and I haven't. I didn't hear about the German swap deal anywhere.
No.
And the other thing we've got to talk about,
being
Shane,
arrested. I mean,
that too. No history on
a record. I mean, of course, how do you, now go back and go, well, she's not such an innocence.
Yeah.
And I know I'm repeating myself, and her ex-wife, ex-girlfriend, whatever, played in China, played in Russia. So, I mean, it's not like she wasn't, even the whole thing of arresting her, this is one of these issues too. I think I wanted to maybe bring it up because I think it has some reasonableness. And that is, you got to be careful when you travel to foreign countries. You got to know the laws. And the reason is you don't want to run the risk of someone planting. I mean, I mean, the Russians, they kill people, with radium.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
and they, they imprison people for life and steal their assets and all these things. Their secret services basically do.
Yeah.
So, it's not necessarily unreasonable to assume that they didn't set her up. They easily could have, but of course she copped to it. I guess her lawyers in Russia told her, "Oh, go throw yourself at the mercy of the court." Well, that was really stupid. Yeah. I mean, the first thing I would have done if I was her, say, "It's not mine. Someone planted it." That's what I would have said.
Yeah. Well, even if that were true, you still have it on your person, so it doesn't go anywhere. So I was wondering about that too. Was she set up? I mean, I was looking through social media, and I couldn't find her personal page. Maybe name something else. But
that wouldn't be so.
Domestic goddess or something like that. I don't know. But I'm wondering if she had talked about CBC oil and using it for, sprains or muscle things or whatever. And they would assume maybe she might have this on her person because whatever they brought out, it doesn't say marijuana lace CDC on the label, you know, THC blank blank, in big letters. So I'm thinking, that maybe, I'm speculating here. It's because I can do that because hell, who cares?
No, I don't disagree with you at all.
Mhm, mhm,
I I think the other problem that I have is with all the issues for the last 20 years regarding drugs in sports,
mhm.
personal and particularly Olympic.
Yeah.
With the challenges the Russians have suffered because of their use of drugs in sports,
Oh yeah.
and all these related stories we've dealt with, you and I, for 10,
Hmm.
15 years
Sure.
and talked about. I just, it's inconceivable to me that someone with that exposure would take any kind of risk like this.
I know.
It's just,
Hmm.
again, it goes back to that whole litany of personal
Hmm.
responsibility. And on top
Yeah.
of that, the interesting aspect of this is the sentence she got for this
nine
in Russia.
years.
Yeah,
9 years. Yeah.
that's really a stiff one. I mean,
Yeah.
uh, for something like this, you would have thought that your government would have gone into this prior to the court case, prior to the judgment,
Hmm.
prior to the sentencing,
Hmm.
and dealt with this. But
Yeah.
it's a circus, my friend, and we get to talk about it because we have to see it.
Amen to that. Well, even the left wing Washington Post kind of condemned this deal, and many Democrats weren't happy with it either. And the Washington Post wrote an article on it that they felt it was not a fair exchange, and that Putin took advantage of Biden. And we just talked about, did race play a part in this? I don't think you can deny any way, shape, or form that race wasn't all over this. Because the Democrats need something. Putin needs a victory uh, because things aren't going well in Ukraine. So this gives him a face-saving thing with his people. I'm sure they don't call Victor a arms dealer in Russia. He's probably a munitions
Analyst.
I don't yeah analyst or something like that. Yeah, he's the Fauci of of Russia, maybe protector of the homeland. So but yeah, I don't think you
I,
can. Yeah, I don't think you can deny race is all over this thing.
yeah, and another thing that needs to be, I think, considered too is this relationship between Biden and Putin. The interesting aspect about all of this is that within 48 hours of this release and coming back, the media was all over, one for one or nothing, and
Yeah,
making Russia sound like they're the devil incarnate, which they are. What they're doing to Ukraine is horrific.
yeah,
But what the point I was trying to drive home is that they immediately came out and said, "Oh no, we're prepared to negotiate for other prisoner swaps."
oh yeah, sure,
Interesting. Second of
yeah,
all,
mhm.
the other thing I didn't know and thought I would was what were the discussions about the U.S. involvement in Ukraine in regards to this exchange?
Yeah,
I would like you
mhm.
would think somehow that may have come up in the conversation.
Well,
Uh,
you'd
you
think
know,
so. You would certainly
like
think so.
if
Yeah,
you're not going to stop, supporting Ukraine, we're not
mhm.
doing this.
Yeah,
So Putin doesn't care what anyone thinks.
yeah,
He's this Napoleonic Hitler complex kind of guy,
yeah. Well, what I meant was,
Saddam Hussein type of guy, and
yeah.
and
He didn't care what people thinks, but he could
yeah,
throw this out there as a victory to the people and say, yeah, I'm the great guy and whatever. Well, the other thing, what happens to Paul Whelan? Now, even if they had exchanged Whelan for this arms dealer, that wouldn't have changed anything. The arms dealer's still out there.
yeah, that's right.
He's still on Russian soil and free to, roam the world and arm anybody he wants to. And why not? So,
Oh, come on, Tom. We both know here. Knock on the door. Follow the money.
oh, yeah.
what
Hmm.
comes in the bag for me.
Hmm.
Putin picked this guy Boot because he knows the guy's got hundreds of millions or billions stashed somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah.
And he paid Putin something not to go to Russia. He paid Putin something to go some country in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And you know that's where that's at. I mean that's just where that's at.
Yeah.
And,
well, I don't think you can make a deal with Putin about where this guy's going to sell arms or who he's going to supply to. I mean,
no,
you
but
can
I'm talking about
it,
Putin got 100 million or something from this guy, or
well, maybe I don't know.
Oh, come
but,
on.
Well, I'm sure he got something.
Yeah.
Thank you, some
Yeah.
thank you money.
It was a tip. It
Yeah,
was a tip on the way out the door.
Yeah, right. So,
well, someone has to pay for the circus seats because no one else is watching.
well,
Like women's basketball, when you look at I did a brief review of the Women's Basketball Association
yeah,
in your country and around the world, and it's regrettable, but no one watches it. No one goes to it. They have had some television coverage when they first all started up, in different countries, because they are a league around the world.
Yeah.
But there's no women's basketball in the Olympics. And probably because of the drug issue it would create, right?
Well, probably, yeah. Well, you also got to do some genetic testing too.
Well, that's the other problem.
That may be a whole other thing.
The Olympics have set a precedent about transgenders.
Yeah, they're going to relax that deal.
Well, they'll have to.
Yeah. You'll see swimming change a lot in the next 14, 15 years of Olympics. So
I don't know. I think the first thing the Republicans are going to do is pass some laws about that, and then how do the Democrats in the Senate deny that? Because it's wrong. It's not just a political issue. It's just a moral one. It's just wrong.
Well,
I mean,
but they don't care, Shane. They don't care.
Yeah, but it gets back to. Again, we talked about this a number of years ago with the issue in North Carolina about or South, wherever it was, Georgia, over this, and they canceled the playoffs or whatever.
Oh yeah, Atlanta. Yeah, they moved
transgenderism, great, but have your own league, like in professional sports. It's segregated, and let them play with but they won't, and we both know why, because there aren't enough of them. That's why there just aren't.
Well, there's not enough of them right now. But like the swimmer who couldn't make it in the men's swimming is now number one in the women's swimming. So where well, yeah, he was rated number one in the women.
No, he's not. I mean,
he was rated number one in the women.
He is by rules he's not following. So how can you call him rated anything? He can't be rated. You can't rate this guy.
He is.
It's not fair.
It may not be fair, but he's rated number one in the women's swimming. So whether you like it or not, he is.
The thing about it is, it makes a joke about it. It makes a joke about women's swimming.
Well, it does. Come on.
The hours parents put in any sport. Hours. We're talking. Aside from working, caring for the family, their social life, their personal life, I know I had a daughter that was in the most competitive sport in the world, and the only one that men and women compete equally. And I can tell you, it was an easy 4 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Oh yeah,
24/7. 12 months a year, 4 hours a day of driving just for her sports effort. And so, parents are, why do this? Why am I going to have my daughter do all this, make this effort, and then be competing with men? Like, it's not fair to anyone. So they're going to do all this to come in second.
Yeah,
it's,
that's what's going to happen. It already is.
It is.
It's already happening.
You're right. It is. And
it's not going to stop. It's going to get worse before it gets better.
Well,
that's
clearly,
what I'm telling you. I'm telling you that swimming is going to change. I don't think gymnastics will change because they have different routines. on gymnastics at the level, the women are almost competing muscularly with the things they do in gymnastics as men do. But the men are more
Well,
strict
you get back at the,
than.
but you get back to the Olympic issue. They've already set a precedent about.
Oh, they have, yeah, the weightlifter, the genetic or whatever weightlifter has said, yeah, come on in. So why not?
Anyway, this is unfortunately not a policy issue. It's a publicity issue we're talking about today, and we're not meaning to bore anyone by it. We're just saying the original story wasn't told.
Yeah.
And so
And it wasn't at all.
someone has to go on the record. So 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now, we're on the record with the real story about this.
There you go.
And
All right.
there you go. That's
as good as it gets. All right.
As good as it gets.
All right. Let me remind you, we're on radio every Saturday. You can hear us anywhere in the world. We're on 8 to 11 Mountain Time. Listen live at kmmsam.com. All you got to do is click listen now, and nothing to join, no signups, no personal information of any kind needed. You don't need any kind of password or anything to listen to us. All you got to do is go over and click listen now at kmmsam.com. And if you missed any of our past shows, they're also on kmmsam.com. Click on Tom and Shane's podcast over there, and you'll get to hear this podcast and all of our other podcasts, and also all of our radio shows. Over 10,000 downloads of our shows. So we really appreciate you guys doing that. And of course, as always, don't forget to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Ring the notification bell. You'll always be notified when we're on, no matter what time zone you're in. That's the best deal right there. Is you got to subscribe, ring the notification bell, like us, leave a comment because, YouTube, Facebook, they all like that. They give us extra points if people comment and all of that stuff. So, all right, that's going to wrap it up for us. We appreciate all of you being with us. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you on Thursday with our next podcast.